Hey everyone, welcome to the High Carbon Steel Love channel. My name is Dave and it's great to have you here. One of the many things that you guys do for this channel that I love and enjoy very much is you ask great questions. Recently, I was asked about bushcraft knots. What are the most common ones that I use, how I tie them, and how I use them. So I figured that today we would come out and I would show you 4 bushcraft knots that I use for just about everything. Let's talk about the bowline knot. Great knot for creating a loop at the end of your cordage. I just turn it over on itself. I got that loop right there. I come up through the bottom. I go around the back of everything. Then we've created that loop inside of our first one. I'm gonna run my end through there. And then this loop on the outside is what I'm gonna grab to tighten the knot. I use our bowline knot mainly for our ridgeline setup. So I just come around, I put our end through our loop, tighten it down, and there's the start of our ridge line. Let's take a look at the one-handed bowline knot, which is a good knot for a survival or a rescue situation. Here's our line. I have it around my waist right now, and this is the line that's attached, okay? Maybe it's to rescue, maybe it's to a tree like I have it. And then I have the other side in my hand, and I leave a little bit of a tag end. I'm gonna have my wrist down, and I'm gonna lay it right on top of the end that's attached over there. I'm gonna come underneath of that to where I'm here. Then, just like the regular bowline, I'm gonna go around the back of everything, and then pull it back through over the top of my line that's connected, around back of everything, and then through the loop that's around my wrist, which sometimes is the most difficult part. But once we have that pulled through, then we can tighten it, and there's what we have. Take the line where we left a little bit, just create a safety knot at the end to ensure that's not pulling apart. The next knot is a clove hitch knot. I love to use this, and it's great for starting out your lashing projects. We're just gonna go around the piece of wood, then we're gonna take that end and we're gonna come across, okay? So you've created this X right there. Then you're gonna go underneath, back out, and you're gonna go through that top part of the X that we made. So once you do that, dress it up a little bit here. The way that I always remembered it is these 2 lines are gonna be right next to each other with that top of the X that you created across. There's our clove hitch, and we'll start with this line right here. My tripods never need to be that heavy duty. I don't cook huge meals on it. I'm usually just cooking for one, or hanging some clothes or whatever I may need to dry off. Other than that, I don't stack much on my tripods. So usually I'll go around 3 times, go through the top, come around a couple times. And that's about all I need. You could always continue to lash and do another clove hitch with this end to attach it to the tripod itself. But what I do is I'll leave this tail end, because this is what I hang my pots on. And I just wrap the tail end around one of these ends. And that's how I could adjust my pot. So there's our tripod, started from a clove hitch on one side. The Canadian jam knot is one of my favorites. It's very simple and tremendously useful. We're gonna start by just tying an overhand knot in one end. Right underneath that knot, we're gonna tie another overhand knot. We're not gonna fully close the second one though, because we're gonna take the tag end and we're gonna come up through that second overhand knot. And what that's gonna do is these two knots, once they press against each other, are gonna work as a tightening system to where that is not gonna come loose at all. But the simple part is that you take this tag end, pull it the opposite way, and it opens that knot up. Works great for compressing your gear. So we're gonna use my wool blanket here. As I start to pull on this Canadian jam knot, the two knots are gonna come together and tighten for us. And all the extra I'll just wrap around and tuck in, and let's compress it this way. We're now compressed down to a bit more smaller of a package than our folded up wool blanket started with. This is a little pack frame we've constructed here, and I like to use a Canadian jam knot to actually lash our points together here. I'm gonna start with them this way, because once that Canadian jam knot is on there and we turn them inwards, that's gonna strengthen that jam knot for us. Now the Canadian jam knot itself is tight. I'm gonna create a hitch at the end just to lock that in. And we're gonna do the same with the other side. When we turn it in, it's only gonna strengthen our jam knots there. We've just added another Canadian jam knot over the top of the other one. So now we have a crisscross pattern on the bottom and each side is holding in very well. We're now just gonna move to the top where I'm gonna cross two more Canadian jam knots this way. So just a little example of a lashing project that can be done using just Canadian jam knots. The good old-fashioned slip knot. We're gonna create a loop. We're gonna grab this inside end and pull it through, which is gonna work against itself to create tension. I fold my cordage in half. I go around the tree. So there's what we have right there, okay? I then take this part right here, turn it against itself, reach through, and pull that, okay? There's our first variation of a slip knot. In goes my toggle. And I'm gonna tighten it on itself. So this doesn't pull through on the knot. I take the end and throw it over, reach through that hole, and pull a loop. So essentially I have another slip knot working as a stop knot to the first slip knot. That toggle isn't gonna go anywhere. So that's why I like to use that to hang my hammock on with my whoopee sling or to hang my pack on. It's a very secure knot. To get it undone, I just pull out my stop knot, pull out my toggle, pull out the knot. Grommets ripping out can happen quite a bit, and it doesn't mean that your tarp is ruined, and I'm gonna show you how we can fix that right here. I'm gonna grab some leaves that were next to me, and I'm gonna ball them up. So there's our little ball of leaves right there. And I'm gonna put it pretty close to the corner. Then take my slip knot, throw it over, tighten it up, and there's our button right there. This cord that's left over can then attach simply right here to a stake, a tent stake, and all 4 of your corners are fastened once again. If you have any additional questions, go ahead and ask in the comments down below, as I always read and answer all of my comments. If you're not a subscriber, go ahead and hit the avatar in the bottom corner of this video. That's going to subscribe you to this channel, and I think you're going to enjoy a lot of the great content that's coming up in the new year. Finally, my social media links are also listed in the description down below, so go ahead and join me on any of those mediums that are mentioned, and it'll be great to see you over there as well. It was great to see everyone, and we will talk to you again soon. Thanks. Bye-bye.